Hey guys, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use a 3-step method to make an artwork or a painting look 3-dimensional. These steps are incredibly simple, so I hope you guys can use and apply it right away to your artwork. In this tutorial, I'm going to be using the Sublime Watercolor pack and the vintage canvas. Everything will be linked below. As usual, I've drawn a sketch for you guys so you can download that and insert it like this. So go to Add and insert a photo. We'll be painting a raspberry today, so let's check our sketch layer first. We have it right there, and we'll make a new layer on top to start coloring, and this is the first step of the method. And now we're going to pick out a color for the raspberry. I'm going to pick out a light red, like a pinkish red. I'll make sure to pick out all of these colors and make a palette so that you can download it for your artwork. Now for our brush, we're going to be using the bold rough brush for the entire tutorial, so it'll be very easy. I'm just testing out the color now, but I do want it to be a little bit lighter for a base color. So that's a good base color to start with. So the first step is to color the entire raspberry with the base color. You don't have to color it in one stroke. I just find it a lot more easier later on because then you don't have to use the blender as much. For these edges, you just bring the size of the brush down and color it in. Now we'll use the basic blender to blend out these overlaps and make it smooth. And then I'll add on the base color to the stem as well. This is on a separate layer. So I've finished coloring the stem and the raspberry with the base colors on separate layers like this. And now we'll have to add on a new layer on top of the raspberry layer and add on a secondary color. And we'll pick out a darker red. It has to be darker than the base color. And now we'll color in each of these circles within the raspberry. And when you're coloring these in, you'll want to color 1/3 of that circle or 1/2 of that circle, because now we are trying to show that these circles within this raspberry have different surface areas. So to show that it's not flat, we need to have that color gradation from light to dark. We want to show light colors, medium colors, and then dark colors for depth. So as you can see, I'm coloring the right bottom portion of this raspberry because I'm pretending that the light is coming from the left side. Now, I think that the secondary color that I've used was too bold, so in that case, what you can do is bring the opacity down so that it fits in a lot more better and it's a lot more natural that way. Now I'm going to use the basic blender to smooth out these transitions so that it looks like the color gradation is a lot more natural and smooth. So once that second step is done, we'll move on to the third step and we'll make a new layer and pick out a darker red, darker than the secondary color. And we'll just make some outlines between these circles, so where the pencil marks are. And you don't have to add this in every separated spot. You'll want to add it in certain areas where you think that it might have more shadows. Of course, you'll want to blend out the edges of these lines to make it look more natural and blurred out. As usual, I'm using my basic blender here. Again, if you think that's too bold, you can bring the opacity down. After that step, we'll make a new layer, and now we're going to add some highlights, and we'll have to pick out a complete white and start adding some little spots of white on the top of these circles. And the best way to do this is to look at a photo like this and to copy where the lights are, that sort of shine that you see on the top of each circle. Now this step is optional because in some settings it may not be applicable as there may not be enough light to show that shine, but we'll show it for this one. I would say that adding highlights can really enhance the painting to make it look more 3D, and it can really benefit that overall painting. If you'd like, you can use the basic blender to smooth out these highlights, but that's really up to you. Using the exact same steps, I'm going to color the stem now, so adding in that secondary color and the third color to add in shadows and to make it look more 3D. I'm adding in more of that secondary color to show that the right side of the raspberry is receiving less light and to show that contrast. So by constantly zooming out and checking out the 3D effect is very important, because then you'll be able to pinpoint the areas that may need a bit more color to show shadows or less color for light hitting areas. Now that you've seen the 3-step method, I bet you can now tackle any object and make it look more 3-dimensional. It could actually be a 4-step method if you count the highlights as well. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.